Hello, everyone. My name is Jesse, and welcome to my ranking of the top 20 songs of NieR Automata, NieR Automata, NieR Automata, however you say it, it does not matter. This is my opinion, and I'm just going to get these things out of the way now. There's going to be songs on here that you like that may have not made it, and trust me, I wanted to put them in, but it's so hard to put these into 20. This video has taken me over 8 to 9 months to make. So at least maybe the honorable mentions. I wanted to get that out of the way. Also, NieR Automata is also from Square and Platinum Games from 2017. It is composed by Monaka, which is the studio from Keiichi Okabe, and that includes Kaigo Hoashi, Kos, aka Kuniyuki Takahashi, and Kakeru Ishihama. A lot of the K names. And just one more thing is we're not going to get into like the specifics of, you know how each song has like multiple versions of like 8-bit and acapella versions. I'm just going to talk about the songs in general as a whole. There will be spoilers all over this video, so if you have not played this game, I would not watch this. I'm going to talk about story stuff specific. As I'm recording this, it's the 13th year anniversary of NieR, so that's a coincidence. I did not plan that at all. And as we know, NieR is based on a lot of philosophers. As we see Ernst right here, and there's a lot to. I really wanted to take my time. People are very opinionated about this game, and they have very sentimental connections with it all over the place. I just finished a second playthrough of it, so I can really grasp the whole world again and immerse myself again. But without all that, I'll talk more about that later. Let's just get into my personal top 20. And once again, this was harder than the other top 20s by far, but we're going to go for what I felt with 2 playthroughs all the way through. Let us begin with number 20. Number 20 on this list, we're starting with what I consider kind of the black sheep of the whole soundtrack, which is End of the Unknown, kind of Adam's theme when you fight him both times. And that's kind of the main reason. It's because, you know, I'm a big fan of variety, and although NieR is a very serious and kind of, you know, detrimental game, it obviously still has its humor and its light moments, and it sometimes doesn't even take itself too seriously. And what I find interesting about the whole Adam stuff is when you first encounter him, you got that like side-scroller type boss fight, and then later the second half of the fight once he really wants to, you know, meet his maker basically. You know, it has a very unique, obviously it stands out completely. It's like a dance song, very trance like. It kind of reminds me of old the stuff that I know from Keiichi Okabe, which this is one he composed. And I'm also going to be listing off the composers of each one if I remember to. This one is also in the Final Fantasy XIV crossover raid, so that was interesting. You know, the thing about this one, it also has unique vocals. Unlike anything in the entire soundtrack, nothing has any sort of this sort of like chanting kind of, I don't know, it sounds like a war cry almost. And it's obviously just a really fun song where you can like dance to, and it kind of comes out of nowhere both times. But the thing about it is that even though it's a little bit more on the fun side, you know, the whole story of Adam is a little bit of a convoluted one, but basically, you know, he's trying to get in touch with humans and feel everything that we do and everything. So, you know, it's the second time around is when I think the song really shines, where, you know, he shows 9S and then gets that feeling out of 2B, and he starts to freak out like, yes, I need that anger, let's go. And then all of a sudden the song sounds like it's a fight for something, like something's on the line. And that's when it kind of borders like, damn, the song is really cool, but also, oh man, it's kind of intense in its own way. So it has this kind of, so although it's kind of a black sheep, it still fits. I think every song in this game fits perfectly. I do not think there's anything that's really odd about it. It's I mean, we're talking Yoko Taro here, so odd is kind of normal. You know what I mean? So I feel like, you know, and this one was hard too to put at 20. That's going to happen with the whole list. The whole list each song could have been like number 5, number 6, you know what I mean? So in a way, I'm just gonna say this now, this list is almost obsolete. Just pretend they're all, you know, like top 5, top ones. It was that hard. I'm telling you, it's been 9 months of trying to make this video. It is not easy. But anyways, I had to start with something, and I chose End of the Unknown, which is the Black Sheep. By the way, I'm gonna also mention that I'm gonna say this a lot, I'm a big sucker for a good song title, and all the song titles in this game are awesome. So End of the Unknown obviously is End of the Unknown of someone's wretched life. So that is started with my list. Number 20, End of the Unknown, aka Adam's boss theme. Number 19 on my list is War and War. This is actually a song that I didn't really like at first. I'm not really sure why, it just didn't really connect with me, I guess. But on the second playthrough, it really kind of came together. This is the start of Route C. The invasion happens. The whole area is under like dense fog, and something I noticed that I didn't notice before, and I'm not sure if other people have noticed, but during this invasion section, if you look up, like move the camera up, there's a whole war going up in the sky. I thought that was really, really cool, and I don't know, I had to throw that in there. So War and War is kind of a, obviously it's super chaotic. You know, the virus is going off, everyone's killing each other, you're saving other members and recruiting them. The drums have this kind of feel of, you know, battle, but yet the tone of the song is a little calm. So it's kind of conflicting as far as like what's happening and what you hear. But the reason I chose it overall is because it has something kind of rare in this game, and that's the male choir. It starts off with this male choir, really low. I think the range is baritone. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert on vocal ranges, but I think it's baritone. And the string section is really nice too, and then the female choir comes in too. It's kind of a really simple song, but to me, this one was more about really hitting the mark on what's happening, and that's going to happen a lot in this top 20, where, you know, up until this point you played 2 playthroughs already, which are more or less the same, just in different perspectives, and all of a sudden Route C just kind of whoop, you know, goes the complete other way, and we even get a new outfit and all that. So it's just a I don't know. It's just a simple song, but it sounds like it completely belongs where it is. And if I recall correctly, I think this is the only place this song plays. There's a handful of songs in this game that repeat. That's kind of an RPG thing I've noticed, especially with Square, is that songs will just be in different places. And in this game, that happens a lot, even with like different versions of songs. But I think War and War, I think only plays here. I could be wrong about that. I did as much research as I could, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure War and War only plays during the beginning of Route C, during the invasion. Anyways, that is number 19. It is a cool song that grew on me. I did not like it. It was not originally here, but I like it. It's something that I often play. I listen to this soundtrack. I've been listening to the soundtrack since, you know, I first started playing the game, and this one's definitely in the rotation. So number 19, War and War. Number 18 on my list is Birth of a Wish, aka the This Cannot Continue and the Become as Gods song. And one thing I didn't mention in the other number 19 is that was composed by Keigo Hoashi and Keiichi Okabe. But speaking of Keiichi composed this one. Birth of a Wish is the second boss fight, but the first one against Adam. This is where all the robots in the desert start to clump together and produce Adam, or as naked Sephiroth, as I've heard. And this one is interesting for a lot of reasons, because it has multiple versions and they're all pretty cool. This also features the male choir, and this one basically feels as though like you're in a rush or you're being surrounded by a horde of enemies, and that is happening every single time. So the first time, obviously, there's a never-ending spawn of machines that are trying to reproduce, of all things, and you're just wiping them all out endlessly. And then the second time, we have the become as gods part where you're killing them all in the factory. So this song is a little chaotic in the fact that you're killing a bunch of machines that are like blindly being misled. So it's kind of like, is it immoral? Is it not? But we're not going to get into like all these like philosophical questions in NieR, which is kind of impossible. But it's mostly just to talk about the music. The violin solo is actually really, really good. There's not a lot of solos in this soundtrack, and this is one of them. So I really like the violin one. It just has, oh, and of course the intro, a little dun, 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 little stringed instruments, which I'm not entirely positive what it is. It could be so many things, but just the fact that it sounds the way it does right there, it has that, it's like the perfect introduction to the song. It brings you this really anxious feeling right away, and the tempo is like perfect. It's just kind of a really, it's not necessarily like a battle theme, but it might as well be, and it definitely could be. So Birth of a Wish, really cool, and I can't believe it's number 18, but again, it's almost, I'm gonna keep saying that, but at any point this could have been like number 10 or something like that. And I also, just like I said, I like the whole very variable way you can hear it with this cannot continue, which became like a meme thing, and then the become as gods, which as far as I know don't belong in the official soundtracks. Those may be just like in-game versions that you can hear. I think maybe even the jukebox you can hear them like that. But it's cool that that even exists, because some people prefer those ways. There's so many ways to enjoy these songs, which is crazy. But that's what makes this so hard. And I'm gonna have to keep trying to justify myself. But Birth of a Wish, number 18 from NieR Automata. Number 17 on my list, composed by Keiichi Okabe, is Fortress of Lies, or the Bunker theme. This one was... I was stuck on this one for a while because I didn't know if I was going to put it in. But after I just kept listening to it over and over on its own, and the fact that you don't really visit the bunker all too often in the normal playthrough, like maybe 5 or so times, unless you just like going up there. It was just one of those rare things, and I really sat there and paid attention to it. And it's the reason I was kind of iffy about it is because it kind of borders ambience, like background ambience, and an actual song, but it is indeed a song. But what's cool about it is that it's different, right? It's very different. It's one of the slowest tempos in the game. The song title, again, is incredible. Fortress of Lies, if you know what's going on, and the whole moon and the humans and all that. So I'm a big sucker for lullaby type sounding stuff. I've always been. I don't know why. Like music boxes, lullabies. I don't know. It's just very peaceful, and it just brings me back to like a normal time when things weren't so chaotic. This actually reminds me of a song that I really like from a band called Telepop Music, and the song is called Don't Look Back. The whole setting of the bunker is obviously like black and white. Well, I don't know if you want to call it black and white. It's like kind of like a dark blue. Well, whatever, you know what I mean. Like there's just like no hue, basically. It's a very weird liminal space, and you're up in space. Oh, that's actually one of the reasons I chose this one. This sounds like you're in space. If I were to think of a song where I'm just floating aimlessly next to Earth, it'd be this. So it has this very slow cadence, and then it has these just really beautiful synths, arpeggios that are going by so slow. I can't explain it. I feel like the only thing I have to say about it is I just really like it, and that's it. And I feel like it may be underrated in a way, because in this 9 months or so that I've been associated with this game, I've talked to my community. I've had live chats. I've streamed it. I hear what people say and like their opinions. What do they like? No one really has, I think, ever mentioned Fortress of Lies. So in my head, it's just one of those songs that you know exist, but you wouldn't put it up there. You would probably consider like the big ones or something first. But for me, it's more about like the setting it gives off, or the feeling it gives off, the atmosphere, and just the whole. I don't know. I guess the whole energy surrounding it, right? The innocence of the song, yet you're in a place that is filled with deception, and not only is like the setting tranquil, but like the people in it, like the whole black and white thing is kind of like a metaphor, because the setting is like, say, the white, the light part, and the black would be some of the people in it. Some weirdo people are in the bunker, like the what was it, the like protege who like was laughing that they're, it's like twisted up there. And we got the commander. There's just a lot, there's a lot going on in the bunker. But overall, I think it's just an underrated song, and it's put me to bed multiple times. That's probably the real reason. It's just an amazing song in that regard. So Fortress of Lies, aka the bunker theme, is my number 17. Number 16 on my list is Wretched Weaponry. This one's composed by Keiichi Okabe as well. This one I consider, it plays in a lot of places and in different ways. Sometimes it has percussion, sometimes, it's just one of those that kind of shows up in different places. But to me, they're associated with a lot of sadness. And again, the title of the song totally fits as to what is going on. For example, this plays while Pascal's village is on fire, and that whole sub-story was super sad, and the kids in the factory, yeah. So that's one instance of wretched weaponry. And then when you fight 21-0 on the top of the god box, that's more wretched weaponry, and that's also sad. I was actually pretty sad about that, because the whole 21-0 thing is its own thing. But anyways, yeah. So it's attached to some really dark times. And what's cool about this song is that it's not a direct. It's more like a callback to a song called "The Wretched Automatons" from NieR Replicant, or NieR Gestalt, a song that I really like as well. But it's very similar. It has like a very similar vocal line, a little different energy. But that's why I like it, is because the vocal line for this one is so catchy, and I find myself humming it a lot. That is pretty common with NieR Automata songs. Like all the vocal lines are all very simple, like single note melodies that really get stuck in your head. There's a lot of earworms in this one. And I also associate this with the factory and basically machinery, right? So I don't know, to me it really hit hard during the Pascal part, because the whole Pascal thing was, it's peace and don't want to fight, and then all of a sudden when they're put in that situation, I think the worst part about all that is, to go into the story just a bit, and it like really bummed me out, is, we helped the kids build the freaking slide, man. And then how long did they have that slide? Like 2 minutes? And then it's stuff like that Yoko does that just like, why, man? Like, why? Like, why couldn't that last like an hour or something? But no, it's like, we built this cool thing and it's on fire. So this one is definitely more of a story related one, but I really do like the song, and most of it is the to be honest, the music is good, but I really prefer the vocals. Emmy Evans really knocks it out on this one. And I typically hear this one a cappella and then think of those like memories it's attached to, and it really hits. It really hits. It plays in more places too, but those are the two big ones: the 21-0 fight and the village being on fire. Which, it's a bummer, man. It's this game is very good at like putting very good music in very sad moments. So it's like, how do you feel? Do I want to like, oh, this is so beautiful, but wait, why am I crying? Which is like the story of NieR anyways. But anywho, Wretched Weaponry, basically sister song to Wretched Automatons. Another really good song from the original NieR. And it's really cool. So that is my number 16 pick. Number 15 on my list is Memories of Dust, aka the theme to the desert. This one's composed by Koss. Well, another NieR game, another desert area with an amazing song. The desert song in this one is I actually really like this song, and I was going to put it higher, but again, you know, it's too hard. Anywho, so this is Janique, a new singer to this game, whereas the first game was Emmy Evans. Now we have Janique, who we'll talk about more later. Incredible vocal melody that has been stuck in my head so many times. This is a perfect song to listen to while you're aimlessly going through. Think of it this way. The desert has essentially nothing. It's just vast openness. And to still have a good time in it is, like, because of the song, like, that's really powerful, you know? Not a whole lot going on there, but in a way there is. A lot of events happen, a lot of turmoil and finding stuff and all that. It's a good place to, do drugs by an oil spill thing. So the desert is its own entity, and then it has the housing complex and all that. So what I really like about this is that this is one of those dynamic songs where the whole big chunk of the desert is just the instrumental acoustic guitar and hand percussion. And then once you get to the apartment complex, as soon as you enter, Janique's incredible vocals just like, whoa. So the thing about the desert is that you always, there's always a certain sound deserts have as far as like movies, media, games. And basically, for me, it has to sound hot and dry. And when I think of this and the whole openness of the song, especially with the acoustic guitar doing very, very simple but good chords, is that it sounds hot. It sounds like a desert. Really, it's the simplest way to put it. It's a perfect fit. The vocal melody is incredible. And then also, around 2 minutes into the actual song, it actually picks up significantly, and we have these big percussions and big string section, which is actually really, really beautiful. And it goes instrumental for a little bit, and then it comes back after some violins. It's just a very, I don't know how to put it, besides I like, they're 2 for 2 when it comes to desert themes. And it really fits. It fits the entire area. I love it. It's so simple, yet so effective. I love Janique's voice. I love that it's like dynamic with the apartments, and I just like it. That's it. There's nothing else to say. Memories of Dust, of course, another good song name. It's fantastic. Number 15. Number 14 on my list is the amusement park theme composed by Keiichi Hoashi. This is a very interesting one. Obviously, the intro is very unique. I will say this very quickly. On my first playthrough, a lot of the songs kind of sounded the same. I know that sounds weird because as a first timer, also considering what I do on YouTube is like I listen to songs from games all the time. So it's not like I could just easily like pick up on what's what right away. That's another reason I played it twice. But this is one of those songs where you just know where it comes from because of that intro is what I was getting at. So the intro has this kind of little jingle type thing. The whole song to me sounds like a really twisted Christmas song. But honestly, after the intro, the whole song kind of takes a life of its own and now becomes another one of these Emmy Evans earworms that the vocal line is incredible. Everything sounds really good. It sounds like 2 songs in one. The second half really picks up. The percussion kicks in. I'm a really big fan of the chiptune version of this one. Although it's kind of rare. I was noticing that during my second playthrough. I'm like, you don't really hear the chiptune version too much. There's only the like 2 hacked chests, and you can hack the tank. But otherwise, like, you don't really hear it too often. Basically, I mean, if I was making a list on the chiptunes, they would all be here. But that's no here nor there. So this one reminds me of a very specific moment in my playthrough where, you know, it's my first time. And if you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. But basically, my first playthrough, I went in there and I just started like slashing the place up. Because up until this point, machines equal bad, and bad equals sword. So I don't read chats when I play games. I just play, and then, but I was noticing in like at the corner of my eye, people were like freaking out, and like the chat was going crazy. And then later, people were actually, I wouldn't say like upset, but they were peeved. They're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" You know, I'm like, "What?" And to my credit, I'm not the only one, you know? Like, I'm sure millions of people did that too. It's not until the second playthrough where you know what's going on and all that, but there's a big chunk of people out there that definitely just slash through without even knowing. And it's not because they're evil people. It's because, you know, Yoko did that on purpose. He basically did that on purpose so to get a reaction out of other people watching. I've seen other streamers right in that exact same spot, and guess what? They're doing the same thing. The reason I'm bringing it up is because I remember, I'll never forget a specific comment I got, and it was just very like, you know, do you not feel any remorse? Like, how dare you type of thing? And I'm like, whoa, you know, does this actually affect people that hard? Like, yes, it's a video game, but what do you expect someone on their first playthrough? I don't really know. It doesn't reflect me. So it's just, I'm always gonna remember that, and because of that, it's the song will always bring me back to that memory. Of course, my second playthrough, I just cruised on by, said hello to everybody, shook their hand, didn't say a peep. Bought many things at the store. I was you know, outstanding member of society. But I just thought I would bring that up because it's just, I don't know, this game has very, very dedicated fan bases, and it's just always gonna remind me of that event. But yeah, I'm not an evil person, despite the Slaughterfest. Anyways, Amusement Park is a really cool song. It's very different as far as like the intro and everything, and I really like that it leads into a song later. But that is number 14 on my list. Number 13 on my list is Voice of No Return, composed by Keiichi Okabe. Put on your sad pants. We're going on a fields trip. The song is very interesting. It's, from what I recall, it mostly plays at the end of side quests. It's like a side quest completion kind of song. And while I'm on that subject, I don't think I've ever experienced that ever until NieR Automata, where I would complete something, and instead of like some fanfare or some jingle, I'm greeted with cellos that are just incredibly sad and really makes you think. Like, did you really complete a good thing, or did you just do something for a reward? You know, like it's just one of those other instances where you start to think about everything. There's a lot of thinking in NieR, both games. You're forced to ponder what you just did. Anyways, Voice of No Return is one that is associated quite a bit with loss and sadness. I mean, it's in the song title, Voice of No Return. For example, this is, here's a couple instances I wrote down. The Resistance member in the desert and the machine, both wanting revenge. That's a pretty deep plot. There was the Resistance member where you're picking up or going to their photo locations for their love. That's pretty sad too. The animal lover in the forest. The one I found was kind of pretty brutal, and that's the ravine where all the robots fell down, trying to off themselves to reach heaven, and then you're fighting the remains, the ones that weren't successful. It doesn't really get much darker than that. You see a bunch of just corpses everywhere, and you're fighting ones that didn't make it, and you're putting them out of their misery. That's NieR for you, you know, like it's. But it's almost the thing about this song. Besides it just being beautiful, of course, and another earworm and another, like I said, this has a lot to do with my picks had to do with context, and with this song, I really feel a sense of, yes, it's sad, but there's closure now. You know, it's concluded. We found our answers. We did what we had to do. Almost in each one of these. The ones that I just mentioned, they're all sad conclusions, but in a way, people got their answers. The resistance members got their answers. The woman got her answers. You know what I mean? Like, it's just this very conclusive piece of music. And personally, of course I like the vocal version, but I'm going to throw a little curveball here. I really like the cello version. I don't know what it is, but it's so powerful, especially in this song. And of course, when they're together is another thing. But like I'm saying, like the instrumental cello version was my preferred way of listening to it. And it really, man, I don't know how to say it besides like it just really makes you think, just like the whole game. But it just really makes you think, and it's a very unique feeling to bottle, you know, loss and conclusion in a song. But this is it. So for that reason, Voice of No Return is number 13 on my list. Number 12 on my list is Song of the Ancients, Atonement. This is a very big song for multiple reasons. There's a lot to talk about here. This is a returning song from NieR Gestalt, NieR Replicant, the song of Devila and Popula. There's so many things here. For one, I had no idea until the comment section told me, and then I had to look it up myself. This was used in the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, and I verified that. I have no idea why. I tried looking it up. I couldn't find a reason. If you know why, let me know. But it's in the Olympics. You can see them all walking, and then you hear the song playing. It's so strange, but cool. Hey, why not? It works. And this song reminds me a lot of. Obviously, this is a treat for the original NieR players because you recognize the motif. You're like, hey, I know that song. This song is really used a lot in the original NieR, so it's nice that it came back here. This is composed by Keiichi as well, so it's like a treat, right? And you get to like, oh, I've heard that. And is yet another version of it. I don't even know how many versions of this song are, maybe like 4 or 5. It reminds me the most of the spoilers, the near the end battle with 2 people, and you know, it's just the drum sound, the battle feel of it. It's just a nice touch. I heard this before I even played Replicant, so I already liked this already. So it was nice that I went backwards. I heard the Replicant version later, and I was like, oh, this is cool. This also plays in a different spot, if you recall, during the Romeo and Juliet play, while you're collecting stamps for the amusement park. It plays there. I'm not sure why, but it does. So the reason I put this where it is, besides everything I said and the quirks about it, again, context and story and all that. And in this case, I'm going to talk about the Atonement, which really, my favorite scene, again, spoilers, my favorite scene in Replicant is the king scene, where he handles business and the doors close on him, and it's a real. Ugh. That same scene is replicated here, basically, where the twins shove 9S into the tower. They say something to him, the doors close, and there's the atonement, right? So for me, it gave me that feeling of the king, and it's almost the exact same hit of emotion, and it's sad because then you learn the story of them, and the twins are a very interesting thing. I do not know who they were because I played. For those that don't know, I played Automata first, and then I played Replicant. So I didn't know who they were, and you only get to meet them for such a short time in the second game, and then they're gone. So it's a really good song, regardless. It's basically the sounds of both of them singing, but this time it's like a really intense battle theme. And for me, it's more of an emotional, again, loss. There's a lot of loss in this game, but it's just really emotional, especially when you find out their backstory with the whole text, and but that's after. That's what's interesting about this one, is like you learn about them after the fact. You weren't introduced to them, at least in Automata, you weren't introduced to them via the text, and then that happened. It was the other way around. So, Song of the Ancients, very good song, of course, and I can't believe it's number 12. But as I'm looking at this list, but hey, once again, this list is basically impossible, but I had to put it somewhere. So that is my number 12, Song of the Ancients, Atonement. Number 11 on my list is The Tower, composed by Keiichi Okabe. This one was not originally on my list, and even in my first playthrough, it didn't really do anything for me. And the reason that is because strictly the circumstances as to what's happening. At this point, when this song plays, it plays actually a little earlier before that, but I'm referring to this song as The Tower, as when you're climbing up that black and white section near endgame. Well, for me, when I was playing that, I was so like, whoa, we're deep in the game. The game is now in this weird, crazy, upside down city. You're in the sky. What is this place? So in a way, I thought it was more of like an ambient thing with that whole like synth intro. So I was like paying attention, but not, is what I'm saying. Because at this point of the game, the emotions are high. 9S is losing his brain. A2 is, shortly or not too far behind. There's a lot of tension. There's a lot of and some of the best voice acting in both the English and Japanese versions are happening here. Which, by the way, the first time I played the game was English. The second time was Japanese, and both were amazing. So, that being said, once I heard the song on my own and then played the game the second time, things really kind of opened up. And this song is very haunting and kind of borderline concerning sadness, but also very beautiful. That's a common theme in NieR Automata, is the bridge between hauntingly beautiful and amazing, and just also can sound really gruesome and bad. And this is one of them for sure. So this one I'm not entirely sure. I tried looking it up. If you guys can tell me, that'd be great. I know it's Emmy Evans, but it does sound like Janique's in this as well, which would make it one of the few times that they're together in a song. I'm not entirely sure on that, but it does sound like Janique's range is in there, but you let me know. Anyways, the vocal line, of course, is another beautiful vocal line, another earworm, and this song picks up really in a substantial way around 3 minutes in. The drums kick in, and now we have this really electronic, and it kind of transforms into a whole other section. And to me, that second section is kind of like the higher you get into the tower. For example, when you learn about Yorha, and tensions are rising, and all of a sudden, you're learning a lot is happening at this moment. You're learning a lot. You're seeing a lot. You're seeing corpses on the ground. You're seeing the two children. Like it's a whole lot to take in. Also, it reminds me of the library. You see the library from Replicant, so which is cool seeing it now, because the first time I played the game, I had no idea what that place was. But even then, it still stood out. I'm like, why the hell is there a library here? You know. And then when I played it in Replicant, I was like, oh, that looks familiar. So the tower, I feel like, is just one of those songs similar to the bunker, Fortress of Lies, where it has this kind of ambiance, creepy, but it's still really beautiful. And it's just, I don't know, I feel like it doesn't get talked about too much. But at the same time, I have seen some comments where people really, really love this song. So in my case, it's a combination of originally not liking it, or not even like paying attention to it, and then really liking it and really paying attention to it, where it plays, the feelings that it gives off, and all the context here totally. And it just has kind of the recipe for everything. So for me, number 11 for sure is absolutely the tower. We're now entering the top 10, and what better way to start than the Copied City theme, or Copied City, composed by Keiichi Hoashi. This one stands out right away as a piano intro that, like I said earlier, at first, it could just be a me thing, but at first, a lot of the songs kind of sound the same until you play it a couple times or hear it a couple times. This one is one of those that you don't confuse it for anything else. It sounds like the Copied City theme. And this is one of those things, I saw my playthrough and I saw myself react to it at the time. And what I thought was going to happen happened. And because I don't remember. But I remember I saw it and then my eyes like lit up like, whoa, what is this piano? And I've seen other playthroughs and other streams. And every time when they get to the Copied City, it's the same thing. They're like, what is this beautiful piano? It has that effect. So the Copied City, obviously, it's kind of one of those unique songs. Stands out quite a bit. It reminds me a little bit of Kingdom Hearts, actually. I'm not really sure why. I guess it's just the first like gut instinct that comes to mind. It sounds like Kingdom Hearts. The thing about this one, to me, well, one, I love piano. That's a given. But again, context here is what's making it. The whole idea of the Copied City is such a unique concept, right? Adam is obsessed with learning about humans and creates this copied city, what he thinks is an equivalent to what we lived in. And to me, the song reflects that quite a bit. This song, to me, sounds like something someone would make after reading books about us. Does that make sense? So obviously, we see scenes where Adam and Eve are at the table. Eve is just eager to play, and Adam is just like reading and, getting that knowledge up. And that's what I associated with. I consider like, I could totally see him reading a book and it's like, hey, did you know humans used to write in these key signatures and do these things with things called pianos? And that's the way I see this song. It's like, it's his imagination creating this kind of twisted, hauntingly cool piano piece, which it obviously doesn't just stay as piano. It evolves and is really nice. But to me, it sounds like something that was kind of unnaturally made, but still naturally made. I know this is kind of confusing, but I think I'm making my point across. It sounds like Adam created it based on everything he kind of knows about us. So with that all being said, I had to put it this high because I don't know if that's the case, obviously. I have no idea what the composers are thinking when they're making this. That's what I get from it, which is another beautiful thing about NieR and why I think this list is going to be so divisive. I know people are going to disagree with a lot of my picks. That's fine. But I think that's what makes it beautiful, is that each one of you relate to each song differently. You see it different ways. You interpret different things. There's just so much like creative freedom. To some people, it's just a piano song. To me, it's a sound like, you know what I mean? So who knows? But the reason is, if it's making me think this much and getting me this creative with a thought, I have to put it up here. And again, it just stood out so hard when I first heard it, and I'm don't know if this is accurate, but that's what I'm going with. To me, it sounds like a song that was made based on studies about us in the future. The Copy City theme is my number 10. Number 9 on my list is Dependent Weakling, composed by Koss. Very fitting, considering what we just had as number 10. This song is the final boss theme of Eve. And again, another incredible song title, of course. Let me talk about that really quick. Dependent Weakling. At first, I had no idea what that meant. Now I do. Obviously, Eve is basically nothing without Adam. Looked at him as the big brother type, and, you know, has no one to play with anymore, unfortunately. Sorry, Eve. So he's dependent, and he's weak without him. So obviously, because he goes haywire, cuts himself off, he loses it, you know? So song title, perfect. That being said, it's a big boss theme, right? It's in many ways the final boss theme, but kind of not. I don't know, but you know what I'm saying. So this is very cool because it starts off similar to the Adam thing, where like the machines start clumping together, and you're fighting in a kind of not so normal spot. You're fighting next to the resistance camp, and then it migrates to the ruins, and it's just a wild. The fight is crazy, to be totally honest, and the whole setting gets all dark. And anyways, the reason the song is up here, obviously besides it sounds incredible and the violins and strings are nuts, is that it actually sounds to me, again, I'm going to get creative with this one, it sounds very much like the two brothers. Now, when I say that, the overall feeling I get from this song is revenge. Obviously, the song is playing during a very revengeful part. For example, like the violins, like it starts off really intense, and that's the pain, that's the loss, that's where the drums kick in. Everything is really Eve at this moment. Then a little later during the song, it starts to get kind of a little nicer, and the chorus comes in, and that's where I start to think of Adam a little bit. So I feel like it's not just an Eve song. And to me, it sounds kind of like their personalities at the same time. The chaotic, crazy nature, the violins, all that is the rambunctious attitude of Eve, and, you know, him wanting to just play, and he's just, you know, all that personality wrapped up. And then the other side is this more calm and beautiful melodies and all that. That sounds like Adam. Right, the composed one. So every time I actually hear the song, I think of all things. I think of the scenes at the table in the city ruins, which it's like, I feel like that's what those scenes are there for. It's to kind of get you to feel a certain way during this song particularly. That's how I feel about it, right? You know, Eve is just kind of like, come on, you know, let's play, and then Adam is like, "What, did you know that?" Well, so that's how I feel about this song. Of course, the song is really epic. It's huge. It's such a menacing song. I personally hear the two brothers in it, and that's what makes it really stand out for me. It's a really beautiful song. It's a really scary sounding song. It sounds like someone wants to avenge their lost brother. So all that combined with the song title, you really can't go wrong. Dependent Weakling is sick. That's my number 9. Number 8 on my list is Bipolar Nightmare, composed by Keiichi Hoashi. This one is, man, when I think of a battle theme, this is the first thing that comes to mind. Like, if someone were to ask me, what do you think a battle theme would sound like? This is it. This is the kind of, for me personally, what I like, and that's this kind of intensity and driving rhythm that you feel in your chest, in your soul, and it really pushes you. It doesn't push you away like you can't do it. It pushes you forward like you can do it. And it's like we have to get through this last section. And there's no better like encapsulation of that feeling like climbing the tower between A2 and 9S. This song is the best thing that could have been there by far. It's so genius how you just go from the A2 battles in the elevator and then the climbing up the tower vertically with 9S. It's so cool. It's one of my favorite moments in the entire game. And this song is juicing all that up with the drums never stop. Doom, 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 doom. Piano is incredibly effective here with the little ding, 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 ding. The whole thing has very like stabbing kind of chords and melodies. Like, for example, it's like a 2-minute intro. There's no vocals at all for like 2 minutes, probably longer. And then the vocals kick in, and they also start doing the stabbing kind of dun 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 da da da. And then shortly after that, we get this really unique, kind of distorted vocal that I don't even know how they did that. It almost sounds like an instrument, or to me, it sounds like someone's speaking through like a megaphone or some sort of pickup, and then just, you know what I mean? Like, it sounds really odd, but it sounds cool. So you really do get the feeling. This plays in multiple places, by the way, but to me, I associate it most with climbing the tower. It's such an intense, basically, final part of the game, right before one more fight and the decision. So you can feel the tension of, I mean, the song already has tension, but the fact that these two characters are, you can tell that they're going to meet pretty soon. This song is like leading up to that moment. You can tell that they're going to meet up soon, and what's going to happen once that happens? You know what I mean? So it's another one of these cases where it's very beautiful, yet very tense, kind of sad, kind of hopeful, kind of triumphant. But overall, I think the feel of that, it's like you have to push through. Like, I feel at this point of the game, mentally and physically, you're probably drained. You know, it's a very intensive part. It's a long section, right? It's pushing you through that. And I love the song. I love the piano work in it. It almost sounds like it doesn't belong because it's such a really nice piano part on top of a really crazy rhythm. But it works. Of course it works. It's my number 8. Bipolar Nightmare is fantastic. Of course, the song title is amazing, just like all of them. So, Bipolar Nightmare, number 8. Number 7 on my list is the City Ruins theme. Both versions, both Rays of Light and Shade. I'm going to start off with Rays of Light. It's the one I actually prefer the most. This is the one with Janique. This is the one you hear probably the most. And it's, to me, kind of the equivalent of a kind of world theme. Although each section has their song, I think most of the game is spent in the City Ruins, or at least it feels that way to me. So I feel like you hear the song more than others in this game. That's just the way I feel about it. But the thing about this song is I love Janique quite a bit. She sounds incredible in this one. Whereas Emmy sings the Shade version. The Shade version is a little more upbeat, but we'll talk about that in a bit. The other one, Rays of Light, the original one you hear, this is when kind of the game, in a way, starts. For lack of a better word, right? The beginning is, the prologue is obviously very intense, and the shooting part. And then, basically, when the City Ruins begins, it's just, I feel like the world opens up. So I feel that. I feel that with this song. It's a very mellow song, nice acoustic guitars, and a very soft piano. And one of the biggest earworms of all time ever is Janique's vocal line. To me personally, I really like the section where the drums go away and it's just the acoustic guitar and her singing. There's just this really beautiful overtone about it, and I can't get over it. It's a really beautiful thing. I've heard this song probably about 500 times since since I heard it the first time, and I don't know. It's you hear it during multiple areas. You hear it during multiple feelings. You hear it when the game is sad. You hear it when it's happy. You hear it when nothing is happening. You know, which is another weird instance, right? Since this is why I consider it kind of like the world theme. When you're just running around the city, looking for a sub story or doing something, this is still playing, and you know it has kind of a melancholy feel to it while just traversing around. But if you think about it, I mean, it is kind of sad if you look around because it's an old, dilapidated, torn down city that has been taken over by nature. And that's crazy to think about, right? That could be us. So I think with all that, it's perfect for where it belongs. It makes me kind of anxious, to be totally honest, but in a really beautiful way. And that's why I really like it. As far as the Shade version, this happens a little towards the later part of the game. It's more upbeat. It's a little louder, actually, too. And this is Emmy Evans. Also fantastic. Nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying I prefer the Rays of Light version. But the Shade version is also really beautiful in its own way. And even though it sounds prettier, it definitely plays during more like intense, sad moments. So it's funny how that works. Must be a Yoko thing. But either way, number 7 is City Ruins, one of my favorite songs in the whole game. Number 6 on my list is Weight of the World, specifically the End of Yorha edition, which includes all the singers. I didn't want to just include a single one. Well, let's address the elephant in the room. It's number 6. I know this could easily be number 1, number 2, number 3. It's insane. This song, though, I'm gonna just be honest. This was really hard to put here. It's an incredible song. One of the few songs off camera that made me tear up a little bit. This is a tear jerker song. The way the vocal cadence runs and the sound of the drums and pianos, like this song was made to make you cry, like for sure. Like if you don't feel anything during this, there's something missing. That's your soul. But let's talk about it. So first of all, let's talk about when it plays, and I love that it's so diverse and there's so many versions of it. So the first time you hear it is ending A, English, by Janique. Oh man, her vocal performance is so good. And then the second time you hear it in Japanese, and that one is its own beast with the singer crying at the end, which, man. And then C and D is the French version. Whereas the End of Yorha version, we have kind of everybody, and that plays at the ending E. And what I like about this one is that they made this song like cooler and cooler and cooler and cooler, and more beautiful and more beautiful. It's an incredible earworm. It's one of those that you just sing along to, you know every word. But what I really like about this one is the layer of the like children like choir. And that happens when you finally ask for help. So genius. When you ask for help in the ending part, and then you feel that like camaraderie and everyone helping you, and then the chants come in. It's like it just punches you in the. So Weight of the World, to me. Now see this, I don't know, and I'm gonna leave this one up to what you individually think. If you're watching this, what you think of the song. I'm not sure if there's a right or wrong answer to this. I'm going to say this as to what I think it means. Please let me know what yours are. But to me, after hearing it multiple times, To me, this sounds a bit of the perspective of 2B and like 2B singing it type of thing. And more so than other scenes, I'm thinking of the scene where she calls 9S9s and is getting by A2 over there by the commercial section. So the reason I say that is because, again, I don't know, this is just my guess. I never actually got like a straight answer. I'm like, what is the song actually like referring to? But I read the lyrics and it seems like once you know, this is what I take from it. Once you know about 2B's original, class and what she's meant to do, and about the whole like cutting off feelings thing and then getting feelings and then being punished, like, is this my punishment? Like it really starts to hit, and that's the way I see it. And again, let me know if there isn't like an official like meaning behind the song, or if it's kind of left to your thing. But obviously it says, the truth is I'm only one girl, and it just sounds like that, right? So to me, 2B comes off as very just like, get away from me, whatever, don't call me ma'am, like don't talk to me type of thing. And then obviously things happen, and then starts to feel the weight of the world. So for all these things, this song is clearly this song is for sure people's number one. But the thing is, the only reason it's not number one for me, it's just very simple. I just think some of these songs are more impactful, but there is literally nothing to take away from this one. This song is clearly one of the best video game songs, not just in NieR Automata. It's an incredible song. It could do well even outside of a game if it was on the radio or something. This is one of Janique's best performances. All of them really, all the singers. And it's just beautiful, and it really makes you feel. It's a perfect song for credits to roll. It's a perfect song to call for help in, and it's a good wrap up to the saga, I guess. So number 6 is Weight of the World. Entering the top 5 of my list is a beautiful song, the Simone boss fight. Believe it or not, this is the first song I ever heard regarding NieR, ever. That includes Automata, Replicant. This is my introduction to NieR. And what a blow to start off with. Actually, I checked my reaction video of that, and I originally thought the singer was male because of the low registry, but then I realized that was indeed Janique. But we'll talk about that in just a bit. The Simone boss fight in the amusement park. Whew, man. First of all, the song. That's what I want to talk about first. Let's talk about the story of this first. The Simone story is sad, yet kind of twisted and perverse and kind of chaotic, right? Trying to be beautiful, yet for no reason, and taking others with you, and just to, it's really demented. And basically this character is trying to make another character fall in love with them, and that character is a piece of crap. But the song kind of represents the story a bit, which is both beauty and sadness. So if I were to combine two things, beauty and sadness, and what that would sound like and look like, that's Simone. So apparently, I didn't know this until later, that this is based off of a real group of people, and that's Simone de Beauvoir. And apparently, I don't know if this is true, I didn't really find anything, but apparently in other parts of the world where you can play NieR, the character is not even named Simone, it's named Beauvoir. So that's a complete direct reference, which totally cements that. I had no idea. And I mean, that's pretty intense. Obviously, this is actually one of the coolest boss fights, one of the first boss fights too. And it's so unique. It's such a, you get introduced to hacking, you get a couple of different camera perspectives, You see the android corpses. It's pretty intense, man. It's pretty intense, and it's a really cool venue. We got the like. It's just very unsettling, right? But to me, what makes the song, I know this is gonna sound kind of weird, but what makes the song really like envelopes the whole thing into a beautiful package is the chaotic laughter that Simone is doing throughout the whole thing. That whole robotic, that is so good because that laughter is both again like a crying laughter and like a maniacal laughter. So it's really like showing that this machine is bonkers. It's lost its mind. And I guess we can talk about the song now. The song starts off extremely strong, both with what you're seeing. It's visually matching up, right? She's like singing the first chord, and the song matches the what you see on screen, which I really like. It has this very it's following the action quite a bit. Emmy Evans sounds unbelievable in this one. I can't even explain it. The contrast between the really intense rhythms of the song with her very angelic, smooth, slow cadence is so. How do I feel? But the thing about this one is that this is one of the very few duets between Janique and Emmy, and oh my god, dude, them two together. I've seen them sing it live together too, and it's just as impactful. I really wish they did more songs together. Is what I'm saying. Janique singing the chorus, so powerful. Emmy singing the verse, so powerful. It's such a sick song, and of course the song title totally relates here. A beautiful song, but what is beauty? What is not beauty? And there's a lot to think about here. Obviously, there's a whole it's the whole game, but there's something more. I think this one could be a little bit more relatable to people, but trying to impress others, and you know what I mean. Like it's a little more on the human side, but basically at the end of the day is John Paul is an ass. In all instances, I didn't mention, but this is also Keigo Hohashi. Some of my favorite songs come from Keigo. This song is great. It's just I didn't really I did appreciate it when I first heard it because it was the first song I heard from NieR. But I really got to grasp it as I played it 2 times. So it's gone through a long journey with me, both as a first-time reaction, hearing it in game first time, and then now knowing about it and then playing it the second time. It's that's why it took so long with this video. I wanted to give this like really proper time to like settle in my brain, and I didn't want to just give it like a quick pass over and like, oh, this song was cool for I wanted to really like take my time with this one. And that's why you see this, it was so hard. Because when those honorable mentions kick in, I know people are going to be like, how is that not in there? But you have to understand, this is like, I was this close to making it just like a top 30, just so I can not have honorable mentions. But anyways, that's not here nor there. A Beautiful Song is in my top 5, but it can definitely be number 1 at any given moment. It is a great song and my introduction to NieR as a series. So fantastic. I hope one day we hear more Janique and Emmy do duets. Number 4 on my list is Vague Hope. In this case, it is the Cold Rain version. And even though I've said earlier that I mostly am going for the song in general, in this one particularly, I will say that I prefer Cold Rain over the Spring Rain version. Nothing wrong with it. It's just I just gravitate more towards Cold Rain. It's the one you hear mostly in the game. That being said, Vague Hope, composed by Keigo Hohashi. To me, the absolute peak performance of Emmy Evans in this game, where she has such an angelic quality to her voice, her breath control. She sounds like she's right in her ear. You can really feel her singing. You can feel the emotion, and This is another one of those kind of post sub story songs. And man, some of these stories, like, it really fits the song title, right? So, for example, when you're in the Pascal's village and you have the wandering couple, and then the the man gets reset, it plays there. So that's some vague hope there. We have there's a couple instances with the operator 210 when you're finding a present, the flowers, when you learn about the stuff from the old world, like the toys and stuff. And 210 is getting emotional there. It's more vague hope. And probably where the song really hits the hardest to me is pretty much the final thoughts of 9S, right? The screen turns white, emotions are high, and then this song kicks in. I already loved this song before that, but for me, it really, really cemented it when the 9S thoughts come in and he's talking to Adam, and it's just like, whoa, what? Like, he even says that his voice doesn't even have malice in it, and it's just peaceful, and man, it really hits. So the thing about Vague Hope is just, to me, it's kind of the ultimate as far as beauty, sadness, hope, and loss, and just kind of has everything. Also, it starts off one way, and then it has a subtle change, but a good change, where it does get a little more impactful. The drums kick in a little bit, but it doesn't take away at all. It just enhances those feelings even more. Basically, anytime Vague Hope came on, and I heard that melody and the piano and everything, it just really put me in a mood, like, oh man, where like, yeah, okay, we did it, but at what cost? And which again is like the theme of the whole game. But I don't know, it's just something about again, the whole lullaby thing and music box feel, and songs like this will always really stand out to me. And in my opinion, this is one of Emmy Evans' best performances ever. And that's it. Vague Hope. Cold Rain from NieR Automata is my number 4 pick. Number 3 on my list, should not be any surprise to anyone who saw my playthrough, is Pascal's theme, or the Machine Village theme. This is another one of these standout songs, similar to my number 20. It sticks out like a sore thumb compared to the whole soundtrack. But the thing is, it's one of those songs where I'm not going to go against what I feel myself. If I see myself gravitating towards a song more than others, there's a reason for that, right? Subconsciously, I click play on this one more. I do something, stuff like that. And in this case, every single time I heard Pascal's song, I was put in an immediately good mood. I just sat there and listened to it. I turned it up. The first time I heard it, I was just like, whoa, what is this? And the combination of the Pascal story, the kids, it's also sad. It's very happy, right? It's like kind of one of the lighter moments in the game, but also goes dark. But it's such a nice change of pace. The whole game is this kind of unsettling feeling, and then all of a sudden you're in a place full of peace. It's green and nature. It's like a big tree house. Everyone's happy, and there's kind of a little bit of everything. We have that one weird machine who pretends he's not all there, but he is, just a scam. Like, it's just it's a very small area, but it's full of life. It's full of hope, and the song is just, I don't know what it is. I mean, it's a Keiichi Okabe song, but it's so regardless of like what game it came from, I would have liked it. It's just one of those. I believe it starts off with a marimba. I'm not sure. I thought it was a xylophone at first, or maybe a kalimba, but I think those two sound too high. I think it's a marimba, but if anyone knows, let me know. But overall, the song itself, as a musician, really hits me, right? The use of acoustic guitars and nylon guitars are so beautiful. The chord choices are so majestic, and I love these types of chords. It sounds so dreamy. It also kind of sounds like a lullaby a little bit. The guitar is just as important, and of course, this song is incredible on its own as instrumental, but also with the childlike vocals, which at first it's not that I didn't like them, but I was a little like, whoa, what is that? But then I've seen like the live video and I've seen like the kids like singing it, and it just goes along with the whole story, and then it makes it even more sad when you know what happens to them. So it grew on me, and honestly, the vocals is also what makes it too, because it has a very everything is memorable in this. The chorus is, you know, dun 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 dun, and then between each rest we have these little acoustic guitar solos, and overall, I think the song is just such a anomaly, but I couldn't help just always being infatuated with it. The clap rhythms, right? It's a really fun song to play. I learned it. It's just a beautiful song. It's a beautiful song. It's wholesome, and it was beautiful before I knew what happened to them, and then after I heard it, or after the fact, and then I heard it, you know, it was a little more sad, but it definitely still made me smile. It's just one of those songs that just make me smile. I love Pascal's Village theme. It is incredible. It is my number 3, and to be totally honest, I thought it was going to be my number 1 or my number 2. I'm not even kidding. I really heard this song probably over 1,000 times in my life already. So that's my number 3, Pascal's Village. Number 2 on my list is the massive, epic, huge song of Possessed by Disease. This plays during the Shoshi battle after a long trek through the factory. There's so much to talk about this song. Oh man, I love this song. Of course, the song title as well. Right before we heard the song, we were listening to, or in the game, we were listening to the Become as Gods, Birth of a Wish, and then that kind of theme of Become as Gods is kind of like lingering here. But the song itself is so unique. It's I didn't know this until recently because I saw a live video, and if you have not seen the live video, please do yourself a favor and do that. Because originally I thought this was like multiple singers. I thought it was a male singer at first, and then it turns into this, I don't know what that was, but that sound, the sound that you hear mostly, I thought it was like a group vocal turned or like cranked up a couple octaves, and then, but I don't think that was the case. I think it was a singer called Nami Nakagawa, and wow, from that live video, she's doing all of it, all the ranges, even that high thing, and it's just, what the hell. The whole song, I looked into this one a little bit. I've heard the song so many times, so I looked up at a couple things that were said about the song, and it kind of resembles what people say is like Bulgarian folk music, and also a combination of Japanese minyo music or vocal style. I think I'm getting that right. I'm not exactly sure, but I've never heard anything like that until this song. That high vocal thing, it sounds like kind of like a, I don't even know how to explain it, but you know if you heard it. This song is so cool for so many reasons. The uniqueness of it. This is also a Final Fantasy XIV crossover song. The song title, of course, they're all basically possessed by this idea of becoming a god, and oh man, the chorus is unbelievable. The little dun 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 dun. The thing about this one is the way it starts. Similar to A Beautiful Song, the song actually matches the boss fight quite a bit. So if you recall, you're in this arena type thing, and then 9S is helping you hack the lights, and he's, you know, telling you the percentage. Okay, we're at 92, 98, and then boom, lights go off, song starts, and you're fighting in darkness. Oh my god, it just hits so hard. And I'm not gonna lie, I have probably heard this song more or less daily since I started playing this game. So yeah, about 9 months. It's one of those where, do I want this as number one? Is this gonna take over number one? Is it like, I don't know. It's such a cool freaking song. Like, and it's one of those cases where it only plays one time in the whole game. There's not a lot of songs like that, but this is one of them. It only plays here, and it's such a travesty because I wish it played other places. I need to know more about Nami Nakagawa because she is super talented. And from what I see and hear, I'm pretty sure she did all the vocals for this. This is a Keiichi Okabe song as well. This song is nuts and deserves all the praise. I love it. I love it from beginning to end. The percussion is incredible. The vocal melodies are incredible. The strings, oh my god, strings. Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na, da-na-na. I cannot say enough good things about the song. The unique vocals, the chorus, the syncing up to the boss. It's just great, man. Number two, to me, in NieR Automata, Possessed by Disease. Man, let me get into some honorable mentions now, which is going to be fun, I'm sure, but let's get into them. I would like to take this time to talk about some honorable mentions now, which I have a lot. Go figure. Who would have known? So some of these I want to reiterate. Just because they're not on the list does not mean they're not incredible songs. I really want to say that. A lot of these I've tried to put into the list, so they have been considered. This is an extremely hard list. I've said this multiple times. I just want to mention that again. That being said, these are all fantastic in their own way. It's just I had to choose. So let's start off with Morning. I have a list here. It's quite a bit of honorable mentions. Morning is a song that is really creepy. It reminds me a lot of NieR Replicant. It has that feel of NieR Replicant, very goth. It reminds me of kind of like Snow and Summer and Shadow Lord and stuff like that. Very church sounding. You hear this during the Amnesia side quest, which is a big deal in this game, where you learn about the E-type and erased memories. That's all I'll say. There is the Forest Kingdom song, which also was going to go on the list, but so hard. Forest Kingdom is this really cool song. It's very catchy. One of the most memorable songs, actually, with that, again, high vocal from, I'm pretty sure it's Nami, and just sounds really good. I really like the intro and the feel of it, and plays in the castle as well. And for some reason, when it's played in the castle, it's like super loud. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that. Treasure Times. This is a kind of a rare, weird song where it sounds like a lullaby. And I actually really like this song. But I will say I'm not a fan of the children vocal in this one. It's kind of annoying. But I like the instrumental version of the song. It's really good, actually. And it reminds me a lot of Fisherman's Horizon from Final Fantasy VIII. A lot. Like, if you can hear that song and then watch footage of FF8 or Fisherman's Horizon, it would totally fit. Here's a big one. Grandma Destruction. Grandma Destruction is a big song in this game. It's a battle theme, and it's a big song. Right? It's one of those big orchestral battle type songs, and I'll keep this one brief. As great as it is, to me, this one shines more in NieR, the original NieR. Not to take anything from this one, because again, I don't want people to think honorable mentions are like lesser versions. It's just I preferred Grandma's presence in the previous game, whereas in this game, I kind of, to be honest, didn't understand why it was here, besides maybe just a good callback. But because, like, for example, this plays during the double Goliath fight, which is epic as hell. Don't get me wrong. Like, during that double Goliath fight, it's sick. But I was just kind of confused as to why it's there. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just I had to pick 20. I'm going to keep saying it because I know comments are going to say something. Anyways, Grandma is another honorable mention. We have, this one hurt for me to not put in. This was The Sound of the End This one plays a lot during. It reminds me a lot of the flight units. It plays during a lot of when you're in the flight units, and it has these very like kind of really nice strings that just kind of keep the energy going and the stress of flying these things. It's really it has a very nice aviation sound to it as well. But to be honest, is to be honest, that's funny because the second half of the song is my favorite part of the song, and that's basically 2B's final moments. You know, that really stressful walk from the flooded city all the way to her demise. Yeah, that's when the song plays. So it's you know, it's a great song, but let's just pretend this is a top 30 video. Let's just call it that. If you made it this far, this is a top 30 video. Another honorable mention is Alien Manifestation. This song plays everywhere. This is the first song you hear in the game as soon as you start the game, and you hear 2B talking about everything that lives comes to an end. The prologue. This song plays in a lot of different places for multiple reasons, and that's what's cool. It sounds like two songs at once. The intro is very dun 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 dun, and then later has those high vocals that also plays in the Forest Kingdom as well. Plays through the factory. So it's a really good song. I've already said it multiple times, but I wish I could put it in the list. But it is in the list. It's in this video. It made it in the video. So, Alien Manifestation. And there's two more. We have Emil, Despair. This is kind of a secret boss that I did in my first playthrough. And for me, that was the end of my first playthrough. That's when I stopped playing at the game after that Emil desert fight. And to me, there was like a nice little callback to Emil's theme, which again, same as Grandma, I kind of felt like that song is more impactful where it's originally sourced from, which is Replicant or Gestalt. But it was a great finish for me. I really like the new vocal melody. There's some really cool chords. Dun, 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 dun. This is one of the rare songs composed by Kakeru Ishihama along with Keiichi. So it has like a little bit of a different sound to it. I really love this song. It's just, yeah. And then finally, my last honorable mention is Peaceful Sleep, the Resistance Camp song. This one, probably more than any of the other ones, I was trying to find a way to squeeze into the top 20. So let's just pretend this is like number 21. Because Peaceful Sleep is a really beautiful, beautiful vocal melody that is like, you know, it's so funny what I'm about to say, but it basically sounds kind of like a music box type of song. It has a very lullaby feel to it. And it has a very home type of feel, right? The Resistance Camp in a way feels like your home base, your kind of safe space. But it also reminds me of the story of A2. So, which is where I think the name comes from, a peaceful sleep and going to meet your friends. But also, you unlock a music box version of this in the story. And that's when it's really like, oh, okay, well. So I would love to have given all these a place, but they made it into the video anyways, so those are my honorable mentions. That was extremely hard. And if I missed any of your other favorites, I'm sorry, but this soundtrack is incredible. All that being said, my number one pick. Number one on my list is the Dark Colossus, Kaiju, or the Grun boss battle. Whew, okay, let's, first of all, this was without a doubt a no-brainer. I've had other top 20s where I've kind of, which one's going to be number one? I knew. When I heard this song, it was a reaction video actually, for the first time, and that blew me away. And then when I saw it in game, it blew me away. And then when I kept hearing it over and over, I've heard the song thousands of times since then. It continues to blow me away. Let's dive into this one. First of all, where do I begin? There's so many things I wrote down. Let's talk about the story of it really quick. So this is a returning song from NieR Replicant. But we're not going to talk about that one. We're going to talk about this one. But it is a returning song. And this one just kind of takes everything to 11. And this also has a really nice story attached to it, which is pretty sad with Grun. I think it's pronounced Grun, where the whole mom thing is pretty sad, and he's stuck at the bottom of the ocean, and it's just one of those. It's very near Automata, right? It's just sad, but you would have never thought that based on the first fight or the first time you fight him. Also, it's my favorite boss in the game, so that's a perfect combination there. My favorite boss, super epic with the whole flights and the multiple camera angles, the hacking the cannon, and the guiding the missile with 9S, and oh dude, it's so epic, like the grand scale of it all. The song itself is unbelievably remarkable to me, where this to me is not only the best NieR song, it's one of the best video game songs I've heard in my life, but also just one of the best songs I've heard in my life in general. So it's gone past the game, it's gone past video games, and it's now into my just favorites. It's that good. It's so powerful, and everything about it is so catchy. The vocals, everything. There's just every little part of the song exists to satisfy me. It's everything I like, and then some. Let's talk about some of these things. Okay. For example, the verse going into this kind of chorus part, it's like a huge crescendo, right? Dun dun, boom, da 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 dun dun, and then after that, it goes into this kind of like pre-chorus where the violins are picking up and the vocals are getting intense, and then it's just all a crescendo to a big release. I love that. So there's a lot of tension and release in this song, and it does it better than any other song, in my opinion. The reverb on the vocals is perfect. It sounds just airy enough, and it just kind of has like this sort of... It basically sounds exactly where it belongs, in the middle of the ocean, fighting a huge, gigantic thing. What else? The low note on the piano is beautiful. It's kind of playing the bass of the song, just going dum, 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 dum. The halfway through the song just completely stops, and we get this organ solo, which is... The whole middle section is basically a combination of solos of the organ, which I really love, and it fits so well. It fits so well. Actually, the game version starts off with a solo with an organ, but the like song version, the organ's in the middle. But when the organ kicks in, then we get like the whole song stops just so we can listen to this organ solo, and then it comes back with the rhythms to be brought into with a violin solo, which is incredible. And then after that, we have like a horn solo, which I think is a French horn solo. And it's just like mind-boggling what is going on. And then after all that, boom, the vocals come back in. So I actually got goosebumps from this song, and I actually still do. The first time I heard it, I definitely got goosebumps, and I was freaking out because it just took me by surprise. It's just fantastic. Another little thing, and I feel like this is one of the highlights of my whole like Auditorium thing on the channel, is in the video where I'm listening to for the first time, I said something as a joke because the song sounds very like aviation, sounds kind of flight. It has that sort of feel to me. This is way before I played the game and never saw I had no idea. And I said like a joke that it sounds like Ace Combat, and then something along the lines of like you don't fly like jet fighters or something in this game. that's exactly what happens. That's exactly what happens. So I completely called it, which just is like the most awesome feeling in the world, because I saw the comments later on, like after I played it, and they're like, oh, Jesse's gonna freak out when he sees at what part this plays, because I didn't know when it was gonna play or anything. So the fact that I was already in love with the song, I guessed where it plays basically on accident, all that. But on top of everything, to me, obviously this is an opinion, but to me, this song kind of showcases everything NieR is all about. Everything is here. So the triumphant stuff, the sad stuff, the everything, the epic, everything you can think of as NieR. Like when I think of NieR as a whole, I think of this song as a kind of like, it's all in this little box. That's how I feel about this song. It's kind of like a showcase. If someone were to ask me, basically, hey, what does NieR sound like? This is what I would send them, and I've done that actually. And that's not to take away from any other songs. All the other songs are fantastic in their own way. But at the end of the day, this is my list, and this was a no-brainer. I did not think of this. I knew this was the answer back in 2022. So, Dark Colossus, by far, favorite boss fight, favorite song. This is a Keiichi song, by the way, Hawashi. It's just, yeah, I don't know. It was cool in Replicant. It's amazing here, and it's by far my favorite NieR song, by far one of my favorite video game songs, and again, one of my favorite songs in general. It's just incredible. And that's that. So, that is my number one. Dark Colossus. Did you guess it? What were your number ones? Please tell me. It's better than arguing. It's more fun to tell me what yours is and why, and we can just talk about that way. But anyways, Dark Colossus, number one. So that is my list. I thank you if you made it this far. There's still a little more coming up if you want to stick around. But I just wanted to mention a couple things. I did play this game because of the music. I want to make sure people know that. I played because the songs were so cool, and I wanted to dive into it. And I ended up falling in love with the game. The game is really unique and very special. And I played that first time on stream, though, which you can find here. But to be totally honest, I don't know if any of you are streamers or know what it's like. But being a streamer is obviously, it's its own entity. And you miss out on things. You're kind of distracted. I had hundreds of viewers during those. It's a lot different playing a game by yourself and just in your own zone, and then different when you have like eyeballs staring at you, and it's a big thing. So my first playthrough, I definitely missed out on some things. I asked questions. I enjoyed it, but what I'm saying is my second playthrough, which was just a week ago, that's when I really enjoyed the game because I had no distractions. I'm just in there again. I caught things I missed the first time, which is great. And it really gave me that immersion, and it really gave me those feels again. And for those that are curious, on my second completion, I did indeed delete my save file. So the first time I did not, and people were like, "What?" But in my case, I was like, "Well, I wasn't done with the game. I still wanted to do stuff." But this time I did delete it. Unbeknownst to me, it would delete all the save files. I did not know that. I thought it would just delete that one, but it deleted all of them. So, at first, I thought that kind of sucked. I was like, "Wait, what?" But in a way, I felt a hint of closure, and it was a nice close to the chapter. I feel good about it. I'm going to help some stranger out there that I may hate, according to the game. But, it put a nice ending to the game for me. I'm sure I'm going to play it again someday, but that is my journey with NieR Automata. That doesn't matter. The game is extremely special, and I will be doing a list like this for NieR Replicant someday. But until then, it was a really cool experience. I really love this game. It's very unique. It's very fun. Love the characters. Love the music. And it lived up totally, and I would do it again. I've spent already over 110 hours with this game. So that is it. Stick around for a little performance at the end during the credits, and please let me know what your opinions are and all that. I know this game is extremely divided as far as like opinions and all that, and that's okay. But hopefully you enjoyed it, and this took a very long time to make, but I'm glad I did it, and it feels good. So till next time, dudes and dudettes, my name is Jesse. I will see you in the next video in the auditorium. I hope you have a nice day, and happy 13 years to NieR. Small world. Take it easy.